The sense of… I must tell you this. When I was just a few years old, maybe 2, 3 years of age, and a little later than that also, I had a great-grandmother. She was an incredible woman. She lived up to be 113, 113 years of age. She wouldn't die. She buried her husband, she buried her children, she buried quite a few of her grandchildren, 1 or 2 of her great-grandchildren she buried, but she lived on. She got married at 14, so you can imagine, 99 years post-marriage. So everybody that she knew died, but she lived on. And she lived in such an ecstatic way that people thought she was insane. So when her husband passed away, and a few years later, at the age of 68, which was midway through her life, she just, it was a family which had lots of gold and diamonds and stuff like that. She just gave it away. A few things she gave it away to her grandchildren. Most of it, she gave it away to odd people. She made pendants, gold pendants and gold chains for beggar women on the street. People thought she's gone crazy. She would say, they can never afford to make it. In their life, that dream would never come true for her. Let her just enjoy it. People would say that somebody will cut her throat. She said, it's okay, at least let her enjoy it for some time. I would observe her in many ways, and I would see that, if somebody gave her breakfast in the morning, she will go about first giving it to the ants. Then there used to be a lot of sparrows, now they're gone. Sparrows and squirrels, she would feed all of them, and only about a third of it would be left. And people would come and say, you're giving away all your food, you will die, old woman. All these consultants, unsolicited advisors, they all died, but she didn't. And many times I've seen she fed all these creatures, and she would simply sit there, tears would be flowing down her cheeks. And if you ask her, are you not going to eat? She would say, I'm already full. I thought this was some just emotional rubbish, but it took me many, many years to understand this, that she was actually being nourished just giving away feeding these creatures. How is this possible? This may look very absurd for a thinking mind, but today the modern science, the modern physics is proving to you the whole existence. As you sit here, the subatomic particles in your body are in transaction with the whole existence. It is just that it's not in your experience. If you bring it into your experience, you will see you are nourished in ways that you cannot imagine. This happens to us. Whenever we go on periods of silence, we also go on fasting. That is the time I gain weight. It's something that medically you can never explain. Whenever I fast, I gain weight. When I'm eating well, I don't. This happens to us invariably almost every time I go on this. Because when you're in a certain state, you are so deeply connected with the existence, things will happen. This simple act of giving is a way of connecting to the existence around you. That also reminds me of a story that she told me. She told me hundreds and hundreds of stories. This is one that will be relevant today. There was a man who went and cleared 100 acres of forest and made it into farmland. His 2 sons also helped him to do this, and they became prosperous. And he aged. When he was dying, he called his 2 sons and told them that the land should never be divided, but the produce, each of you take it equally, 50% each. Accordingly, they went by the father's word. One of the brothers got married. For a few years he had 5 children. The other one never got married. So after some time, life went on, and after some time they were taking 50% each. One day, this brother who had wife and 5 children, a worm entered his mind. Sometimes a worm enters a mind. A worm entered his mind, and he thought, I'm getting 50%. My brother is also getting 50%. I have a wife and 5 children. I have 5 boys growing up. My brother has nobody. When he gets old, who will take care of him? He should have little more than me, because I have the wealth of my children. He has nothing, so he should take little more. But he is too proud, he will not take it from me. So in the night, in the dark of the night, he carried a bag full of grain, quietly walked into his brother's store and dropped this bag and walked back. So whenever he could, he went on doing this. And the same worm entered his brother's mind, and he thought, I'm just alone, my brother has 5 children to feed, and I'm getting 50%. But if I give him extra, he will not take it. So he started doing the same thing in the night. This went on for many years. Both of them never noticed. They were into their old age. One day, both the brothers, carrying a sack of grains, in secrecy were walking towards each other's storehouse, and they came face to face. Suddenly they realized what's been happening. They looked away from each other. It was too embarrassing. They looked away from each other, dropped the grain and went back to bed. After a few years they passed away. The townspeople wanted to build a temple. They were looking for a site. So they went all over the place looking for a site to build a temple. Then they decided, this place where these 2 brothers met, and they felt embarrassed about their giving. They thought, this is the best place to build a temple. So, if you are giving, and you are embarrassed about your giving, you have built a temple in the place where you sit right now. Thank you very much.